I'm Terri Malik.
And I'm Jared Treadway, and we're inviting you to co-create with us.
From our home base in North Central Texas.
We're hosting conversations that nourish our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual intelligence.
We are about being spiritually physical.
And physically spiritual.
We are about inspiration.
And aspiration.
We are about involution.
And evolution. We're about self-exploration
and self-excavation. We are about each of us coming to know ourselves in our fullness and wholeness,
so that together we serve the expansion of human consciousness
with the gifts of our specific genius.
Welcome to 33 North, 96 West.
Hello, everyone, and I am excited today to be back in the studio with Jared here in North Texas at 33 North, 96 West. How exciting. As we are really in the end of 2022, this last month, towards the end of the year. And we have been discussing so much. It is such a magnitude of things that I'm going to start my introduction with a couple of words around what we have decided to discuss today. But before I go into what that means to me or what that means to us, before we go into that, I am going to give, I guess you would call it a little disclaimer. So I'll start by saying the topic is I am. I am, which is a very huge part of my existence and my life and my world, and has been for quite some time. Another word that's coming up often is permission. Permission. So these are the words that we have decided to create a conversation around. When I am in my I am presence, when I am in alignment with what that is to me, and I am actually living as that, language is, I guess I could say, feels very foreign to me in some ways. Language feels so foreign in describing and discussing some of this that one of the biggest things I've received often is that, well, that's because that's something that you just be. You know, we are to be our I am presence. To add another word to that, the I am presence. We are to be our I am. And then that can be our compass. That's a navigation tool in our journey and in our life, rather than being separate from our I am. So having said all that, I'm going to do my best to articulate it in a very more grounded, tangible way so that we can have conversation, rather than just in the energy of being and dancing around words because they don't feel adequate to discuss the I am. They really can feel limiting. However, they can also be very expansive when we allow that to just move through. So that's my introduction today. Is Terri has been dancing around how to say all this and how to speak to it. So what a delicious opportunity to be in conversation with Jared about this.
Yes, and thus is the challenge that we have chosen to accept by producing a podcast series. And
absolutely.
Yeah. So we come together and we really do get into a really amazing, expansive space energetically. And then we push record, and we're communicating with you on the other end of these audio waves and the networks and things. And so how do we find words to share with you the energy of what we've been feeling and experiencing?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how we do.
I concur.
So the I am presence to a Terri Malik.
I am presence. My I am presence is what I am as the presence or an aspect, the aspect, an aspect, presence of God, of source, of creator. It is the awareness, conscious awareness within me that I am not separate from that. I am that. And I think one of the ways I say it often and have said it in previous conversations with Jared is that I have a knowing that I am. And let me reframe that in another way to express what that I am is. God is within me as me. So those are just a few ways to say what that is to me. And it is a what, and that could be another part of the conversation. But for so long, I would always talk about who and what I am. And then to come to really embody at a deeper level that what, that would be what I just spoke to, is the what I am.
Yeah, the what in physical form in this incarnation, in this reality, in this moment, this now moment, that's the what.
Yes.
Yeah. And the I am presence contains and includes that aspect of you and every other aspect of you that ever has been and ever will be, right? When you say the most expanded awareness, you can sort of think of this I am as the ultimate container of all that you are, all that you ever have been, all that you ever will be beyond time, this eternal aspect of you.
Absolutely.
I could
Yes.
just add a couple of words. The aspect of you that became manifest at the inception of your soul. The manifestation of the source that is you. That's the I am. That's the I am presence that is you. It's the aspect of you, aspect of the source that became manifest as you at the inception of your soul. It's always with you. You are, okay, now we're getting into, let's talk about the permission. Now, obviously, the claims that Terri has just made and that I've just made, I think I can speak for both of us. At some point during our physical life experience, we had to entertain the ideas. We had to give ourselves permission to think beyond past paradigms, beyond what we'd been exposed to before, beyond our conditioning, to even consider some of these possibilities for who and what we are. Let me just ask, first of all, who said that we're supposed to have an identity? Okay, that's
Brilliant question.
There's a question we could go, but so anyway, I have given myself permission, and I think I'm speaking for Terri. Terri has given herself permission to go outside the box and beyond past paradigms with regards to where the answers may come and what the answers may be to some of these questions. So this episode really is about permission to go beyond the known. And we would like to express, and we would like to give you that permission, but I think the ultimate point that we're making is that you are the one to give yourself permission. So all we can do is kind of share the ideas for you to consider. So the question is your claim of identity or your claim of this awareness in your experience. Right? So when I make a claim of identity, like I am a physical body, I'm aware that I perceive this thing here. I am my physical body. I am a physical body. I am a man. There's a claim of identity there. I am my soul. Now see, we're going a little bit broader with that one. Does my soul exist separate from my body? Does my body exist separate from my soul?
No, because we're not separate from Creator. That's a concept many of us have adopted and claimed. Many of us, let me back up and say humanity as a whole has claimed. And then as we give ourselves permission to step outside of that, we don't have to claim what the collective has claimed. Have we claimed that in our journey? Absolutely. And then that brings us to the questioning, perhaps, could I give myself permission to go beyond this? And I'd like to just share a quick example, something you were saying. What you were saying is, I am a physical body. I am a man. Okay, these are based off of, I'm going to say, general understandings we have within humanity. We understand we're a physical body. We understand
male, female.
Male, female. Thank you. It's like there's
gay.
a word there.
I'm gay, or I'm straight.
Okay.
So these are claims of identity that we all kind of throw around.
Yes. So here's what I was hearing to kind of give you a framework of the power of the I am. Okay. So those felt very, I guess I would use the word neutral to me. Those feel neutral. Those feel, or at least for me, there is that there's no, I say neutral, meaning there's not a positive or a negative energy charge around that, at least not for me.
That's a
different.
There are some charges for some people.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. However, think about a general statement we hear often people say. I heard it this morning, and this creates a charge within me. I'm only human, because my insides, every cell in my body and my thoughts are saying, no, you're not. And so the words you place behind or after the I am are so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So you can claim them with authority, not, and I don't mean ego controlling authority. I mean authority as the governing authority of yourself. Or you can claim them, okay, I just mentioned ego. It can be claimed in a there's phrases I use that have escaped me. Bear with me. A superior ego or an inferior ego. We can claim things, or we can claim it from neutrality. Again, that's going to be up to each individual's perspective, and I do understand that. But I just wanted to mention that use that as an example, because if I say I am a physical body, I don't think that is going to cause too much charge in another individual. If I say, well, I'm not a human body. I am a soul. I'm only a soul. Well, that's, I'm escaping from aspects of me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I know, I personally really know that if I use something that is going to create what I'm going to call a denser vibration or frequency within me or within others, there's going to be a whole different experience around that. To say, I am source, I am a creator, I am infinite, I am, these are very expansive, powerful statements. To say, I am only human, I am limiting myself, I am minimizing myself to one aspect of myself. So I think that's an important thing, and that ties into us talking about the permission. How much permission do we give ourselves to expand our I ams?
So there's we're clarifying an idea or a phenomenon here, which is we're tossing around different ways that identity may be claimed.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
you're the claimer.
Yeah.
And that's what may require you give yourself permission. You're the claimer.
That's huge.
Yeah. Is there an agency outside the self that can claim your identity for you?
No.
Can you decide to give agency to something outside yourself.
Yes.
But okay, so let's clarify. Something outside you can't do it for you.
Mm-mm.
But you can decide that you aren't the claimer.
And a simple way that that's said in society is you're giving away your power. And I
Yeah.
don't mean that, again, in a controlling way.
So what is our power?
Mm-hmm. My power is my I am presence. It's the knowing what I am at the most expansive awareness in my consciousness that I have.
As that, how is your experience different? Let me, for the purposes of our conversation, we're going to play. I'm the devil advocate, and you. So this is going to be fun. So just disclaimer: I may or may not believe. Don't just allow me to be an actor, and I'm playing a different role right now in this conversation. Okay.
Be an actor giving cultural suggestions, perhaps.
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready.
So, Terri, all of these things are outside of all these things I'm experiencing are outside of my control. And I am not responsible for what's happening to me.
My first response, and then I heard to say whether it is that statement you just made or whether you even ground it in more with a more specific example, my answer or statement is the same. And that is true because that's what you have claimed. Let me put it that way. Whatever you claim is what your truth is and what is going to be outpictured in your experience.
So I have the power, because I asked you, what is my power? Mm-hmm. I have the power to claim powerlessness.
Yes.
But I was the powerful one that claimed the powerlessness?
Yes.
Ah.
That's how broad our power is.
Mm. So is there anything in my experience that I'm not able to affect?
No. Jared has said before, you're always saying yes to something.
Mm-hmm. So when I say anything, I'm going to go really broad here. And I'm actually expressing this with a sense of deep awe and humility. Is source energy malleable to thought?
Yes.
So what we're expressing here may feel cataclysmic to some who may hear this. Like, this may be hard based on our programming and past paradigms, that there is an agent in the sky that is consciously orchestrating and directing how things move and how things operate. And we are separate from it, and it's in charge of us. And it will express judgment. And I mean, I really do feel like we have to kind of pull in some of the themes of the paradigm so that we can express what this shift looks like.
So we can choose to fear these claims that have been made by humanity as a whole within the collective.
So the human species has manifested separation
Yes.
from source and this past paradigm.
Yes. And I can choose to adopt that paradigm, if you will, because I can make my choice from fear, or I can make my choice from love. I can choose to, I can make my choice from separateness consciousness or from wholeness consciousness. And that really is where that permission is coming in, the invitation to give yourself permission. Because if I go into fear, if I make my decision based off fear, what I'm hearing to maybe translate that to is that means I am looking I'm looking into the collective at the claims that have been made, not only around fear, but to instill fear in others. I can also look into that same collective field, and I can choose to make my decisions from love and wholeness and joy and abundance. Some grounded words people might say, either the negative or the positive. For me, it's all neutral. It's what we assign to it that creates the charge.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sitting with that for a minute.
So
Ooh.
is your I am presence afraid?
No.
Is it fair to say that aspect of you exists beyond where fear may be manifest?
Yes. From my perspective and knowing, yes. Because it's wholeness.
So going back to claims of identity, you can be identified with aspects of yourself that are afraid or that can be subject to the energy of fear. But you may also be identified with aspects of you that are beyond it.
Yes. And to add a point here, we know, and I feel I could speak for both of us, so definitely interject anytime, Jared, is that we are not claiming that we made the decision one morning and never had an experience of previous claims. It's a process. It is a making the decision in each now moment. It's making the decision again and again. It's not a one time, I have made this decision and all previous claims that are actually within my cellular memory and my neural pathways in my brain and in my DNA strands are gone. That's not what we're saying. But each time you make that choice, you are literally changing yourself at a cellular and at an atomic and subatomic particle level. You are changing your entire makeup. And when you're changing your body, of course, that is changing your brain. And when you're changing your brain, you're changing your body. It's all connected. And then, of course, that connects to the emotions, which is how we experience it through the feelings. So I just wanted to add that this is definitely not an unattainable pie in the sky notion that we're offering. It does take self-responsibility in making those choices again and again. And knowing that each time you do that, you are amplifying that. You're amplifying that as your cellular memory. You're amplifying this new neural pathway, this new idea, this new concept that you've given yourself permission to do. So rather than it be almost a knee-jerk reaction, it becomes more of a intentional process.
I totally relate to that and resonate with it. And I think another analogy I could throw in here would be stabilizing your foundation at a higher octave. Mm-hmm. So there's a dance of up and down. And I think the dance of up and down is probably forever. There's this eternal. I don't know if there's an end to the ascension process, and I'm using that word carefully, I think. But the more you are choosing identification with the broader aspects of you, the I am presence, the more it becomes familiar to you. And as you said, those changes start to happen at all the different levels, including your physical body. But as it becomes more familiar to you, it becomes the place from where you begin to resonate and operate more in a more stable way.
And that process does include really looking at everything, though. Not saying, oh, I'm not going to choose to look at something, for example, that we would see a repeat of, a pattern, we'll just use that word, a pattern. A repeat of something in our life is an invitation to say, is this an opportunity to make a different decision? In other words, we'll see how it's outpictured and giving us opportunities to do that. It's if we're mindfully doing it, not ignoring it. So if we've swept something under the rug and we're not looking at it, we're not going to give ourselves permission to make a different choice, because we have to first give ourselves permission to look at it. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was important to add, because we're definitely not saying we haven't and don't continue to do that every day. Like you said, Jared says it's a continuous process. Don't put it under the rug. Don't bury it. And we might not even be aware we're doing it. But the more we do this practice, the more comes to the surface. The more we realize what we can look at and what we can make different choices on. And staying out of that energy of blame and judgment, self-blame, self-judgment, guilt, shame. These are all vibrational frequencies in which we were making our decisions previously that brought us back here again and back here again and back here again to, wait a minute, I desire something to shift. Okay, well, what is it that I'm going to look at? And the sabotaging self and all of that is tying back to earlier. That's still something else you're giving your power to.
Absolutely. You make it your God. You make it your idol.
Yeah.
All of these.
Yeah.
So can I ask, why are we sharing this? Why is it important to you? Why do we feel inspired for everyone to have the opportunity to claim their identity as and through their I am presence? That might be the best cliffhanger ever. Aren't you curious to hear how Terri is going to respond to my delicious question? You'll have to wait a couple of weeks. It's not because I don't want to give you all the goods today. It's because some of the realities of daily life has gotten in my way, and that's all I've had time to edit. So I hope this finds you well here at the end of 2022, and we'll be dropping the conclusion of this episode in the new year in January 2023. As always, thanks for listening. Catch you next time.